Now, there are the obvious things that you need for any surveillance, like your video camera, your cell phone, paper and pen, windshield cover, window tinting, binoculars, things like that. So we won't spend much time on those items. These are the things that we take on every surveillance, regardless, right? Well, today I want to focus on what you need for winter surveillance, especially if you do winter surveillance in colder regions like here in Colorado. Cold weather surveillance brings on many challenges. To overcome those challenges, you need to make sure you are prepared. A big challenge is fighting the cold. You can't always leave your car running all of the time, and in the winter, a running vehicle is more likely to be noticed by your subject and neighbors far easier than in the summer. To fend off the chills and sometimes the frostbite, you need to make sure you can stay warm inside your surveillance vehicle. Make sure you have a good blanket with you. It needs to be made of good material, like a wool blanket. I would also recommend a darker color, black or dark blue, something that is not noticeable from outside the vehicle. I usually keep a couple of blankets just in case it gets really cold or in case one of them gets dirty or wet. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. Layers of clothing is number 2 on our list. I always suggest to wear as many layers as possible. You can take layers off if it gets warmer, but you can't put layers on if you don't have them. On the coldest days, I will usually wear a t-shirt, a long sleeve shirt like this, then maybe a flannel button up over that. Good winter boots are a must too, with good insulation and traction, and wool socks along with heavier pants like jeans. Number 3 goes a long ways with all those layers of clothing. It is a good winter coat as the final layer. Again, dark colored so it's not noticeable from the outside. I usually try to have 2 or 3 coats or jackets with me, so I have choices depending on the weather conditions. These choices also allow me to change things up when I'm on foot surveillance. If I have to go into a store, I can put on a different jacket and look a little bit different. Often during winter surveillance, the weather changes as the day progresses. It may be 10 degrees outside, folks, but if you are stuck inside your car in direct sunlight, it will start warming up quickly in there. This is where having those layers on that you can peel off as needed and a blanket for your legs is so important. Many times my upper body is roasting, but my legs are freezing as the heat doesn't get down to the lower portions of the inside of my vehicle. Number 4 on our list goes along with the heating up inside the car. Water or something to keep you hydrated. You can get dehydrated even faster in the winter sitting in your car. Make sure you have plenty of water or other hydrating beverage. Not coffee, not sodas, nothing with caffeine. Caffeine can dehydrate you even more. Assorted hats are a must for me. Beanies and baseball caps. Hats help keep your head warm as well, help you change up your look while you're out on surveillance. I have heard that you lose a greater portion of body heat out of your head than any other place, so keeping the old noggin warm is a necessity. I also recommend darker colored hats, and usually not with too many markings or advertisements on them. Now, if I'm wearing a hat when I'm following somebody and they go into a store where I need to go on foot surveillance, I will usually not wear a hat into the store, or I change it to a different style or color. So if I have my black beanie on while I'm on mobile surveillance, I might switch to a blue ball cap on foot surveillance in the store. Number 6 is food. Of course, we always need some food for any surveillance, but in the winter, I always try to have extra food with me. Good energy and protein providing foods, granola bars, nuts and fruits, things like that. And you need extra just in case you get stuck somewhere. If fuel for your body is a necessity, then fuel for your vehicle is just as important and is number 7 on today's list. It stands to reason you should always have plenty of fuel in your car, but in the wintertime, make sure you top off the tank right before you start the surveillance. In the event I am following my subject for a long distance, if they pull off for fuel or a pit stop, I try to top off again if at all possible. This can be difficult, but usually I can get gas at the same store that they're at using my covert camera to continue getting some video footage, or do it at a gas station like across the street while maintaining some kind of video. Power is number 8. I always carry my portable power box, one of those made for jump starting your cars, but I use it for power for my camera and other accessories. The one I have has a DC to AC converter built into it so I can run a laptop if needed, and it has multiple USB ports on it. I actually try to keep 2 of these on hand, especially in cold weather. One is my portable power and the other is my just in case unit. Just in case I need to jump start my car, just in case I get stuck and need additional power, just in case my case goes longer than planned. I have had plenty plenty of times when having that backup unit in my car came in plenty handy. Number 9 on our list is emergency cones or flares. I usually have orange cones in the back of my car all of the time. They work great for setting up a guys on a country road or something like that, or if you get stuck due to heavy snow and you need to pull over to give other vehicles warning of your presence. Cones seem to be a bit better than flares, as flares, well, they burn out. And not many people use road flares anymore these days. But those emergency battery packs that I have, they have flashlights in them and flashing lights in them for emergencies as well. Number 10 is gloves. I keep multiple pairs of gloves in my car. You have to keep in mind the functionality of your equipment, like cameras, when picking out gloves. I have found that those big, bulky ski gloves are not always the best for me. I like driving gloves with some good insulation like Thinsulate, or even those cloth work gloves or mechanics gloves work well. Here are your quick bonus tips for things that you need on winter surveillance. You may want to keep some of these with you during the winter surveillance and all year round as well. A first aid kit is something that you should always have, but in the wintertime may come in extra handy if you have any minor incidents. Tire chains are good to have too, especially if you live in an area where tire chain laws may come into effect, like here in the mountains in Colorado. Jumper cables are good to have, even if you have that power backup box to jump start your car. Sometimes you just need a little bit of extra power.